Enoch Godongwana has temporarily withdrawn Eskom's exemption from reporting irregular expenditure in the interim. Godongwana addressed Parliament's joint finance committees on the matter. The minister's decision was met with widespread criticism, with many accusing him of wanting to shield Eskom's corrupt activity. Our reporter Athi Mtongana is following the story for us, and she joins us now for a debrief. So, according to the minister, he even consulted outside of Treasury in terms of legal services to check if he's on the right track. And there's a chartered accountant also whom he praised quite well for helping him in making this decision. Now, this U-turn, what does he attribute it to?
Well, as you've mentioned, the Minister of Finance, Enoch Godongwana, has even mentioned the fact that he personally had to consult an independent legal practitioner in the instance of exempting Eskom from declaring its irregular, fruitless and wasteful expenditure in its financial statements as opposed to its annual reports. Now, the Minister has, of course, told Parliament today that he is now withdrawing the exemption for now, but not clear whether he will continue with actually considering the fact that the many MPs in the portfolio committees that are now looking into this matter, that they have criticized the decision of the minister of basically not properly consulting, for example, the Auditor General. The minister has cited issues around grey listing, for example, and the issue of corruption that has surrounded Eskom. And he was saying basically that those are some of the issues that Treasury, National Treasury looked at, and I presume those are the issues that he also looked at when he was consulting this legal independent practitioner. Let's listen to what the minister had to say, because he also highlighted the issue of grey listing.
Because part of the challenge we face with the grey listing is effectiveness, our ability to deal with corruption. The regulatory framework has been crossed. So we appreciate that approach. So the intention really is to allow Eskom to have better financial statement, but at the same time create an environment where there's transparency on corruption and irregular expenditure and all of those things. So there are two platforms created in that proposal, in that exemption. So the intention is not to hide anything in that regard.
The minister has also gone as far as to defend their decision, saying that it is not in the effort of hiding or concealing corruption at Eskom, and even went as far as mentioning the former CEO of Eskom, Andre de Ruyter. Let's listen in.
In Section 92, Honorable Nkwankwa correctly says there's nothing that says go and stack it. It says exempt. It doesn't say go and put it somewhere. It's precisely for the accountability and transparency issues that force us to say going to not to exempt blanketly, but going to disclose it somewhere so that there should be accountability. That was the rationale that prompted us to take that route. But let me say, part of the difficulty which we understand, and Honorable Abrams kind of captured it, is the toxic environment what is surrounding Eskom, which sometimes may cloud the substantive issues. Let me just say, Honorable Mhlangwini says, no, we're hiding certain politicians, which are reverted. Interesting enough, some of my colleagues, one of them said, oh, are you hiding the rater? And Minister Taylor said, oh, are you exempting my criminals from prosecution, from me arresting them? So it's clouded. I'm citing these examples to say it's an example where Eskom is an interest. And sometimes, therefore, the substantive issues we're trying to deal with are clouded by these issues.
Many members of the various committees in this joint meeting expressed that they did not get satisfactory responses and explanations from the minister and his team. The SCOPA chairperson, Khuleko Hlengwa, went as far as to say that he does not believe that this exemption has been temporarily withdrawn and that they need more answers from the minister as well as his team. Let's listen to what he had to say.
I think where the minister needs to clarify us is what does the for now mean, quote unquote. If the exemption is withdrawn for now, when does it come back? And for what purpose does it come back? And does he legitimately think it is correct to bring it back? From where I am seated, Minister, Eskom does not deserve an exemption of anything. An exemption exacerbates an already dire situation at the utility. So the advice I would like to present to you, Minister, is that don't withdraw this exemption for now. Withdraw it in its entirety, completely and forever, and insist on an Eskom that is going to conduct its business operation consistent with the law, and for National Treasury not to aid and abet through legislative gymnastics the corruption that is taking place at Eskom.
Many of the MPs have actually accepted the withdrawal of the exemption. However, many of them are saying that it should be permanent and that Eskom should not be afforded an exemption at any cost, given the irregular expenditure, the wasteful expenditure that has been reported in the power utility, and that the minister now he's saying that he's going to further consult with the Auditor General in order to get to a decision of whether this is a permanent thing or whether they will actually go back and try to give that exemption to the power utility. Dudu?
Athi Mtongana, thank you very much for that update.